What's crack, it's VangelinaSkov. Today we're going to be talking about a channel under the name of Cringey, which if you've watched my DissociaDID videos, you've probably seen some of their videos too. Now we're not actually going to be discussing the videos on that channel, we're going to be discussing the person who runs it, whose name is Charlie. Now since she started doing videos about DissociaDID, a lot of people have been very suspicious of her. She doesn't show her face in videos and she doesn't reveal her full name, and speaks with a British accent. And as a result of these things and some other things that she has said in her videos, a lot of people seem to be under the impression that Charlie is actually Nin, running the Cringey channel under a different name. Similarly, some people don't think that she's actually Nin, but they think that she is one of DissociaDID's alters running the channel. Important to note, if you haven't seen the Cringey channel, the videos on DissociaDID are mostly exposed videos. So you may be asking, well, why would Nin or one of DissociaDID's alters have an exposed channel on themselves? Well, some people seem to be under the impression that Charlie is a persecutor in the DissociaDID system and is making these videos in order to hurt the system. Now, I've gotten a lot of comments on my channel, I've gotten a lot of DMs about this person. Many of these messages coming from people who are completely convinced that this is Nin, and who want me to expose Charlie for being not Charlie. And I'm not the only person who's getting these messages and these comments. I know there's other creators who are getting them too. All of us being told to research this person, to make a video about them, to dox them, to expose them, anything just to prove that they aren't who they say they are. So in today's video, we are going to have definitive proof of whether or not Charlie from the Cringey channel is actually somebody from the DissociaDID system. But before we get into that, please subscribe and click the bell button to get notifications when I upload. And if you want to, you can also check out the memberships or the Patreon down below. So now on to the video. Now for the purposes of this video, I had a video call with Charlie. And during the video call, they had their camera turned on. I was looking at them speaking to me. And for the purposes of this, I will blur out her face, but you can still see some bits of movement here and there. So let's just see what she had to say about all of this. Hi Charlie, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. It's all going pretty well.
So it's good to know now that I am currently looking at you and you are obviously not Nin. Definitely not.
I'm glad that I'm not Nin. I mean, to begin with, it started off as, I thought it was funny, like people were saying, oh, she sounds a little bit like Nin, and I was like, okay. I mean, Nin has I don't know what I have received pronunciation. I don't actually have a British accent. Because obviously I learned French and then I went on to speak what the stereotypical British accent is, and that's what my accent is. It's not actually a British accent, it's received pronunciation. I don't know what Nin has. And that was cool, like, you know, like we sound like Nin. And then I started getting comments from people who were Nin fans addressing Nin in my comments saying, we're so happy that you're doing okay. And I was like, that's really nice to say, but I'm not Nin. And then it got weirder.
Yeah, I've noticed. So I think now you've said you've had people asking you to dox yourself to prove that you are not Nin or somebody from the DissociaDID system.
Yeah. They think I'm an alter of Nin, I think. They think I am an alter of Nin or Nin herself. So I think some people think that I'm a persecutor who started an entire channel way back in April 2019, leading up to the point in which I would eventually expose Nin and my own system. Or I'm just Nin trying to stir up drama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was something I wanted to ask you, if you had any idea why, because it seems completely illogical to me why Nin or somebody from their system would make a channel exposing them. So if you had any idea why people think that, but I guess not.
No, not really. I think they're just like, she sounds so similar, it's got to be her. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm sure we could go through the different reasons why it doesn't make any sense. You know, number one, my boyfriend, who is a YouTuber who shows his face, who I've been dating for about a year, who has seen me in person, hasn't had nothing to do with DissociaDID or Nin at all. In fact, I tried to explain to him what dissociative identity disorder was, and I lost him after the third alter. He was like, I don't get it. Like, bless him. Like, you know, obviously he's understanding and trying to learn, but he was also like, I'm sorry, you lost me at the third one. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that is quite confusing if it's your first time hearing it. But the thing that I noticed immediately, because what people might not know is that I've had loads of messages and comments and DMs and everything asking me to basically expose you for being Nin or for being part of the dissociated system. And honestly, okay, I'm sorry to admit this, I hadn't really seen many of your videos because they're very
That's
long
fine.
and I have the attention span of a teaspoon. So I went and I watched some of them and went, that is definitely not what they sound like. It's completely different timbre of your voice. The accent isn't exactly the same. I know you can change an accent or fake an accent, but your voice is not the same. It's just not.
I mean, I guess you could change an accent, but even because I was raised speaking French, which is, well, when I say my first language, I quite literally mean the first language I ever spoke. So I have about the understanding of I have about a 5-year-old's understanding of French. And I would say that a 5-year-old who's living in France who only speaks French would be fluent in French. So that's what I go by. I spoke French until I was 4. And then I went to primary school and spoke English. I was being taught French by English people because my uncle married a French woman and we all learned French for her and to make her feel welcome. And so we all spoke French. So even my French accent is poor. Like it's and don't even get to my Hebrew one. Oh my God, it's terrible. So I guess I could try and fake a British accent, but that would be hard. I don't even know how to impersonate Nin. I mean,
I've tried and it went terribly, and I'm not ever going to do it again.
I mean, I could. I don't want to. I don't know if this is insensitive or not. I've someone asked me what Jade was like, and I did an impersonation of Jade, and they said it was spot on, but I think that's just mostly to do with tone and pausing because of the way she speaks in a very distinct way as opposed to the other alters in the system. I couldn't do any others, so I guess I could be Jade.
You could be Jade. Yes, I'm seeing you right now. You're definitely Jade. Just for the people who are confused at my sarcasm, because a lot of people are, I am joking. That is sarcasm.
Oh no, my nose is not that great, and I don't date undesirables. So,
yeah, and I was thinking about that. I was trying to figure out, why people might think this. And there was a bit in one of your videos where you showed a clip of Jade. I think the one where they were talking about the Pottergate Center and stuff. And yeah, you do have a similar way of speaking, and maybe that's where it came from. Like you said, the pausing and sort of the tone, but the timbre of your voice is completely different. It's just two people speaking in a similar manner.
Yeah.
In a way. But I wanted to ask you as well. So you've also had people that think you're somebody from Bobo & Co.
That was one comment on Reddit, and then I think it kind of came off saying, like, I did get a couple of comments, I can't find them now, going, I hope you're okay, Bobo. And I'm like, I hope Bobo's okay too, but I'm not Bobo. And my fear with that was I didn't mind too much if people were joking and saying that I was Nin. But I didn't want Bobo, a much smaller channel, to get people going over to her and being like, oh, so, you're doing this. And I didn't want her to get any harassment on the basis that we're both British, which is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, and again, you don't sound the same as them either, so it's quite ridiculous. Yep. I was wondering if you wanted to sort of go through some of the things people have said to you or reasons people have given you for why they think this.
Honestly, it's just, I don't know, the one, they've just said, you are Nin, you can't deny it, this is bad acting. I think that's one comment I got, this is such bad acting, and I'm like,
I mean, sure.
I'm terrible at being myself. I'm sorry.
You know what? Can relate to that, to be honest.
That's also the difference between me and Nin. Nin, I guess you could argue, I have less of a tolerance for bullshit, essentially. Well, in my video, it's pretty nice to Nin, but overall, I'm meaner than Nin. I obviously I don't know Nin. I've got some suspicions about Nin and what she's really like from what we've seen her from behind the scenes. But generally, I have a no nonsense attitude, and at least Nin will put out a front of positivity. Whether that's genuine or not, I don't know really at this point from everything that's happened and everything she said behind the scenes. I don't know if that's a genuine attitude she has. But I'm generally a lot more right, here's some controversial, depressing things we're going to talk about, and we're going to roast them. Like, that's my channel. I find I'm like, what will piss people off today, and then I record a video on it.
Yeah, that's it's definitely not her style or any of their styles in anything. It's all very positive. Even from Jade, if we're to go with Jade again. I've never known her to roast people. So it's just been defensive, sort of.
No. Yeah, very defensive and timid. Well, I don't want to be shady, but attempting to be intimidating. But, you know, that's the kind of thing Jade does.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that I wanted to ask you was, okay, so you have people asking you to dox yourself, basically, to prove that you're not Nin.
Yeah.
And I've also seen people saying, show your credentials, you have to. For some reason, they feel entitled to that. So do you have sort of maybe like a response just to get it out now?
Yeah, the last person that did that and the last one that I put on my community tab, I don't like calling people crazy, but this one definitely is a little bit out of the realm of reality, because they were commenting on my video, you have to show this. One of my real life friends who has the username Kitty, she was commenting back, I know this person in real life, she's not Nin. She's just not. And then she carried on, and then she went over to YouTube Psych Myths and commented on her video going, could you expose this person? And I'm like, dude, this is my friend. Like, I'm friends with you. Like, what are you like? It's just, it's kind of nutty. Like, I like at the point, it got to the point where I don't really care. She was going on about, oh, you're attacking me. And I'm like, dude, you literally came and said, dox yourself to me. Like, which is very inappropriate, is a very light way of putting it. It's nutty. They want me to show my face and my credentials, and I don't know what they mean by credentials. I have an undergraduate degree in psychology. I have and I work in the mental health care field, and that's where I work in the field, and I won't state specifically what my position is, but it's related to mental health. And the problem that comes with that is that I'm a key worker, both in the sense that I work as a key worker, but I also have certain patients and residents that I'm a key worker for. Therefore, if I have to give out my credentials for my job that I currently work, I would have to give out information about those personal people, those people's personal information, because even if I said, okay, I work here, they'd be like, okay, but prove you work here. Who do you work with? That would be the next thing. And these are very vulnerable people. These are people who have zero capacity to do anything, to make choices or anything like that. And that's where it gets into security. Okay, so when's it going to end? You're going to ask me for my face. Cool. You're going to say that, oh, she's photoshopped herself. She's photoshopped her red hair. She's photoshopped the glasses, or, they're fake glasses. She's photoshopped her eye color. She's made herself a little bit pudgy, because I'm a little bit pudgy. And then, okay, I work here. Okay, but prove you work here. Who do you work with? What are your patients' names? Like, it gets ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say anyway that even if you didn't have vulnerable people that you're working with, even if that wasn't the case, you still don't actually owe anybody your own personal information. Yeah. It's not that you're trying. It would be different maybe if you were trying to sell them educational content and stuff like that, and presenting all of this as facts, when what you're doing is not that at all. So you're not entitled to, or people aren't entitled to that, and you're also not entitled to show your face. Like,
oh yeah, ridiculous. I mean, when it comes, the number one reason I don't show my face is the security of my patients and my residents. Or in my job, it depends on if they're permanent residents or if they are temporary, because we have a rehabilitation ward, and that's the most I'll say. If they're in the rehabilitation ward, then they are patients. If they are permanent, they are residents. So that's why I switched the terms between the two. Some people were saying, "Oh, well, you're saying patients to make yourself sound more professional." It depends on where they are. That's the number one reason. It's for them, and it's also for my family. My dad is a cancer in remission patient. I don't want them to have to deal with, because people are like, oh, well, it's not going to be that tough. Just show your face. Just tell us who you are. Yeah, it's not going to end there. It's not going to end there. They're going to want to know proof. They're going to want to know, okay, so you're this person, but what about the other people around you? Can they validate. Like, no, I'm not gonna, hassle my dad, who doesn't even really know what I do on YouTube, a person who's like recovering from cancer, in remission, to prove that he's my dad. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, just to say from my part now, so we've spoken on Twitter. It's the same Twitter that you use for YouTube. I've seen pictures of you on Twitter. I sent you the link for this call on your Twitter. I'm speaking to you right now. I'm looking at you. You are not Nin, you're not DissociaDID, you're not Bobo & Co. You're not any of the bigger name YouTubers or any of the smaller ones that I know in the DID realm. So I can confirm that now. And if people still don't believe it, then I don't know what to tell them. Because
I mean, I've sent, like, several YouTubers have seen my, I don't know if you know Omegon. I'm in his server. I know him. He's seen my face. He was actually the first person I ever collabed with. Omegon's seen my face. Omegon knows who I am. YouTube Sitemyth knows who I am. Peter Almond, my boyfriend, knows who I am. Like, he was reading this and he was like, I'm with you right now this minute, and people won't believe me. And I'm like, I know. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, at least on my part, I can confirm you're not Nin. So I hope that's enough for some people. I don't know what other proof they need. Voices are different. Your face is clearly not the same face. You're not the same person. That's just it. That's just what it is. I'm sorry to the people who want a conspiracy theory. I love a good conspiracy theory. This is not one of them, unfortunately.
No, it was fine to begin with, and then people started demanding again, credentials. What do you mean credentials? Because it's interesting, some of these people are anti-Nin. So they're asking for my credentials as Nin, knowing that Nin doesn't have any credentials.
Right. The logic, I'm struggling to find it. I don't know. Maybe if I put my glasses on, I'll be able to find it somewhere. I'm not sure. Well, anyway, I think that should be enough for now to prove to that you're not Nin. Is there anything else you want to say before we go?
Not really. Just, don't go after Bobo. Don't go after these other, because they're not me. It's ridiculous. Like, just because these people have spoken out, and like, I think a lot of people are confused when it comes to YouTubers such as Omegon, who don't show their faces. I've actually done a video on the psychology of avatar use on YouTube, where it causes a lot of suspicion. Who is this person? It's the Zygarnik effect. I've got to find out who this person is. It's an incomplete task. I must find out. But you've got to, like, manage yourself. People are obviously not showing their faces for specific reasons. And you don't, just because you think someone sounds the same doesn't mean they are. Because honestly, I've had people compare me to Omegon and both males, the right opinion. So am I the right opinion using a female voice filter? Who knows at this point? Like,
you really could be. You really could be. Who knows?
I wish I was. I do not have that amount of time and editing skills.
Yeah, I've seen some of his videos, and that is a lot of work. Anyway, well, thanks anyway for coming on the channel.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. It was good to talk to you, because I was like, well, my thinking was, well, they've commented on YouTube Sitemyth. They're probably going to comment to Vangelina. They already did, and I thought, oh, for God's sake.
Yes, they already did. But I'll link your channel in the description, possibly a pinned comment, if I can remember to do that. So people watching, look at that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's absolutely good. That's fine. I'm just, at this point, I'm just like, this is a French channel now. Like, bonjour, je parle en français.
You should.
Dans my YouTube.
Then you'll just be compared to French YouTubers forever.
Oh my God. I'd be a French altar, wouldn't I?
You would be a French altar, yes.
There's no escaping this.
So I think that video, sort of seeing Charlie, knowing that I have spoken to Charlie somewhat face-to-face virtually, as well as some of the things we covered while talking, like the voice not being the same, should be enough to prove to you that Charlie from the Cringey channel is not DissociaDID, or isn't Nin or isn't even Bobo and Co, as some people seem to think. Anyway, do let me know in the comments what you thought about all of this. Is this something you ever believed? Do you still believe it? Do you not believe it anymore? And if you don't feel like commenting about that, then tell me what the weather is like where you are, because today it is beautifully cloudy and rainy and gloomy and it makes me so happy. I love this kind of weather. Anyway guys, that's going to be it from me for now. So as I said at the start of the video, please subscribe and click the bell button to get notifications when I upload, and you can also check out the memberships or the Patreon down below in the description. And you can also follow me on social media. Like, comment, share, and do all the things that I'm supposed to ask you to do at the end of the video, and have a wonderful day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.